Now let's move on to chapter 5 now. Chapter 5. Now chapter 5 talks about the several notices as well. Alright, and look at paragraph 2 of chapter 5. Now here it talks about the notice on appointment and use of introducers by financial advisors. Now this comes under FA notice number 2. Now in the past there are referrals, and even today I can see referrals, people referring business to a law firm, referring business to a housing agent, referring business to a life insurance agent and the like, right? So these are referrals, right? And most of the time, how do you pay a person who refer business to you, right? So is it upfront fee, or is it how do you manage that people who refer business to you, right? So it must be above board, it must be transparent, and in order to put that in the proper footing and a proper perspective and to be transparent, so there is now this the introduction of introducers by financial advisors, all right? Notice on appointment and use of introducers, all right? So a financial advisor now can appoint and use introducers to introduce business to the financial advisor company, the financial advisor corporation, right? Now look at paragraph 3 straight on. You can see the notice shall not apply to the appointment or use of introducers by A, person specified in Regulation 4 of the Financial Advisors Act, structured deposits, prescribed investment products and exemption under Regulation 205, in relation to the provision of any financial advisor service relating to any structured deposit as defined in those regulations. So the introducer issue, right, the notice requiring setting up the requirements of introducers, those requirements do not apply to 2.3a. Alright, this notice also will not apply to 2.3b. Alright, other than that, it applies to all licensed financial advisors and persons who are exempt from holding a financial advisor's license. Right? Now, what does this notice is all about? This notice sets out the standards to be maintained by the licensed financial advisors and persons who are exempt from holding a financial advisor's license with respect to the appointment and the use of persons carrying out introducing activities. Right? So what do we mean by introducing activities? What is the ambit? What is the scope? What is the extent? All right. Now, under A, the definition 2.5 reads, all right, introducing any client to an introducee in relation to the provision of any type or types of financial advisory services by the introducee. Right? That's the first definition. Or the activity referred to in A above and either or both of the following. So A, recording the particulars of any client and forwarding such particulars to an introducee with the client's consent. So the client must know that that person is an introducer. He agrees, all right, that you record his particulars and forward his particulars to an introducee. Introducee in this case is the financial advisor. All right. So again, the PDPA, the Personal Data Protection Act, comes in. When you collect data, you record data, and you forward data, you use data, you disclose data, you must have consent of the client. Right, so the introducer is bound by the Personal Data Protection Act as well. Right? B2, providing factual information to any client on investment products. Now, I underline the word factual, right? Factual information, okay? Information on the name of the investment product, right? Is the investment linked policy, is the collective investment scheme, the product provider, right? The name of the insurer, the date on which the product is launched, the minimum subscription amount, and any fee or charge which may be imposed. So these are factual information, right? They are not, I repeat, they are not recommendations. They are factual information. All right, information which can be found in the financial advisor's relevant brochures or marketing materials. Right? So that is the definition, that is the ambit of what an introducing activity is. Right? Now, B, requirements for financial advisors appointing introducers. Now, if a financial advisor wishes to appoint and use an introducer, right, it should take reasonable steps not to appoint an introducer whose carrying out of introducing activities is. Now, if the introducer is a company, is a corporation, is sole business activity, right? So when you appoint a company to do introducing activity, to be an introducer, right? This introducer, if it is a corporation, it cannot be a sole business activity, which means to say that introducing activity must be incidental, right, to the business of this corporation. Right? So an introducer can be a corporation, but it should not be a sole business. And if the introducer is an individual person, a natural person, his full-time occupation. Right? So those are the two qualifications in terms of the appointment of an introducer. Now 2.7 is important. A financial advisor shall ensure that none of his employees or representatives enters into any arrangement with an introducer to carry out introducing activities other than on behalf of the financial advisor. So any appointment or any use of an introducer must be on behalf of the financial advisor. All right, an individual employee or individual representative cannot on his or her own make an arrangement to have an introducer, right, to introduce business to him or to her as a person, as an employee or as a representative. Right? Any appointment must be on behalf of the financial advisor. Right? 2.8. If a financial advisor wishes to engage introducers, then it shall institute adequate control systems and procedures to ensure the proper conduct of the introducer. This means that the financial advisor has a duty and a responsibility, right, to make sure that the introducer conducts himself or herself properly, right, including ensuring that the introducer does not get involved in the provision of any financial advisory services, right. The introducer should not get involved in the actual work of providing financial advisory services or recommending any product to a client, other than carrying out the introducing activities as defined under 2.5. Right? Apart from all that, paragraph B1 requires the financial advisor to enter into a written agreement with the introducer. All right, in this written agreement, all the details are being set out as to the scope, the extent of introducing activities that this introducer can perform. So in the written agreement, you must spell out the extent, the ambit, the scope of the introducer's activities. Right? And the financial advisor also has a responsibility to monitor the conduct of the introducer, right, to make sure that this introducer operates within the specified terms and conditions of that agreement. All right, this financial advisor introducer agreement, right? So those are the requirements for a financial advisor if the financial advisor wishes to appoint introducers. Right? Now B2 talks about the disclosure by the introducer. Now, the financial advisor shall require the introducer to disclose to all clients, right, that the introducer is an introducer, right? That as an introducer, it is not permitted to give advice or provide recommendation on any investment product to the client, market any CIS, or arrange any contract insurance in respect of life policy, other than to the extent of carrying out introducing activities. So on the part of the introducer himself, all right, introducer himself or herself, right, there's this requirement to disclose to all the clients that, hey, look, I'm only an introducer. I'm not a financial advisor representative, right? And look at B2 2.10 second part there. Whether or not the introducer is or will be remunerated by the financial advisor for carrying out introducing activities, and where the introducer is or will be remunerated by the financial advisor, the amount of remuneration if so requested by the client. Right? So this is disclosure requirements by the introducer. Right? And 2.11 repeated the point above. In addition, the financial advisor shall require the introducer to disclose to all clients that the introducer is introducing activities for the financial advisor, not for the representative per se, right, but for the financial advisor, and not for the employee of the financial advisor or the representative of the financial advisor, but on behalf of the financial advisor. All right. So those are the disclosure requirements by the introducer. Now moving on, B3. Now the financial advisor has to provide a script, all right, to be used by the introducer. The financial advisor should ensure that the particular script specifies the following. That the information that the introducer is required to disclose to clients in accordance with Regulation 31R, right? That's what we have talked about earlier. That person is an introducer. Introducer cannot give advice or provide recommendation on the designated investment products. Whether the introducer is paid or not paid, and if paid, when a client asks, then you have to disclose how much is being paid as an introducer, right? And to disclose that he's acting on behalf of the financial advisor. Right? Then B4 says prohibiting on handling of clients' money or property by introducers. And the financial advisor has gained this duty to make sure that the introducer does not receive any money, right, or receive or deal with any property in relation to the introducing activities. And B5 talks about the financial advisor maintaining the register of introducers, right? So if a financial advisor wishes to use these introducers, the financial advisor needs to maintain a register, right? Putting down the name, place of business, contact number, business registration number, in case the individual's the identity card numbers, and the date of appointment as introducer and the date of termination, right? So it's a formal process, formal procedure, formal procedure where a financial advisor wishes to use introducers in their business. Now, of course, 2.16 provides that the paragraphs that we have spoken about under this chapter will not apply to financial advisor where introducing activities are carried out by its own employees or representatives on its own behalf. Okay, so if a representative or an employee recommends or introduces a client to the financial advisor, then the notice FAA number 2 will not apply. Right, then the B6 talk about disclosure. It's a similar, it is a repeat. Okay, so I'm done with this particular notice on the notice on appointment and use of introducers by financial advisors. Right? Now the next part under chapter 5 of this module 5 at paragraph 3 refers to a notice on prohibited representations made by persons exempted under regulations 21D of the Financial Advisors Regulations. Now as usual, 3.1 gives you the section which is section 58 of the Financial Advisors Act which allows the MAS to issue the notices. Right, that's under section 58 under 3.1. Now this particular notice, FA number 10, sets out certain prohibitions in respect of representations made by exempt persons. Alright, I hope you remember the definition of exempt persons and representative of exempt persons regarding their exempt status. Alright. Now just to refresh your memory, under B, the prohibited representations. I just read to you briefly. Exempt persons are exempted from the requirements to hold an FA license in acting whether directly or indirectly as a financial advisor in giving advice in Singapore, either directly or through publications or writings, or by issuing or promulgating research analysis or research reports concerning any investment product other than life policies. Note that, other than life policies, to not more than 30 accredited investors on any occasion. Right? These are the exempt persons as defined. Right? Okay, then 3.5 says by virtue of that particular section, right? Again, it's a similar thing, right? Now, 3.6 is the key. This is where the prohibited representation are. An exempt person and its representative shall not represent itself nor cause to be represented as being licensed, regulated, supervised, or registered by the MAS, whether verbally or in writing. We have touched on this earlier. Alright. So the notice set out the formal footing where you can find these prohibited representations by exempt persons as defined under the Financial Advisors Regulations. Now that particular notice, which is FAA number 10. Now very quickly we look at FAA number 12. Now this is a pretty long notice, FAA number 12. It talks about the entry requirements of a provisional representative, right? Now 4.3 is the key. With the implementation of the RNF, right? A principal who appoints a representative to provide the financial advisory services, we have to notify the MAS on the appointment and certify the representative's fitness and propriety to be such a representative. Right? We have talked about this one earlier under the representative notification framework. Right? Now, in terms of the provisional representative, quickly cast your eye on to B. Right? Now, what is the purpose of this particular appointment of a provisional, I emphasize that one, provisional representative, right? It's meant to facilitate the relocation of experienced individuals who wish to provide financial advisory services under the FAA on behalf of a licensed financial advisor or an exempt financial advisor. Now, this guy, this provisional representative, this person is given a grace period of 3 months to pass the relevant examination as stipulated under the notice on the minimum entry and examination requirements for representatives. Now, this is under a separate notice, which is FAA number 13. Right? So the entry requirements are set up at 4.6 for provisional representative. Right? So this individual person proposed to be a provisional representative must satisfy the following minimum requirements. A, at least 21 years old. Okay, there's an age requirement there. B, in the process of relocating or has already relocated to Singapore. C, at least 3 years of relevant working experience. Right? 3 years of working experience relevant to the type of financial advisory service that he will provide as a financial advisor. So it must be the relevant type of financial advisory experience, and A, B, C, and D. He possesses at least a bachelor's degree or equivalent or a professional qualification. Alright, if you cast your eye down the page at the bottom of the page, meaning of acceptable professional qualifications. So they give you some examples there. Acceptable professional qualifications at the bottom of the page says include in the exemptions for capital markets and financial advisory examination modules on product knowledge analysis as specified in FA number 13. We will refer to that later on. Right? So you must have some professional qualifications. Like I've said earlier, the professional qualifications that are required are finance related, right? Maybe like chartered financial analyst and similar kind of professional but finance related. Right? 4.7 is clear. MAS may refuse entry of a provisional representative who fail to satisfy the entry requirements set out in the paragraph above. Now, this is useful for people who are overseas, right? Who are in the process of relocating or having already been relocated in Singapore. You want to be a provisional representative or financial advisor, you need to satisfy the minimum entry requirements set up at 4.6 here. Alright, so now after the person satisfied the minimum entry requirements, right, over 21 years old, 3 years relevant working experience, and having a bachelor's degree or equivalent or professional qualification, right, then this person may be appointed as a provisional representative. Right? Now, C is the validity period. C talks about the validity period. And under 4.8, the appointment of a provisional representative shall be valid for a period of up to 3 months. Right? Right? Right?